Happy Monday. Good to see y'all. I love a full class. My name is Anna. This is our rec yoga. We have 45 minutes together. I always like to grab blocks. If you're here in the room, we do have them. They're behind the door. If you want to grab one or two, up to you. You don't have to use them. And then if you're online with us joining, then you can use a book, a pillow, a water bottle, anything like that to help accommodate you in the poses. It just brings the ground up to meet us where we are. That's what our props are for. So other than that, announcement wise, I told the class last week, I haven't confirmed yet with Living Well, but hopefully you should know for sure this week, but hopefully today, if we are going to have our classes Monday, Wednesday next week. We usually do. So unless somebody's already signed up, I'll check the schedule today on the app and check to see if it shows up, because we've told them we can do it, me with yoga and Miranda with Body Blaster Wednesday for next week during spring break, but I don't know if we've heard from Living Well yet. So TBD on that. Other than that, we'll resume. All of our regular group fitness classes are canceled next week, and we'll resume all that schedule on Monday when we get back from break. So there won't be any bar next week, no water, anything like that. Other classes, it's just the Monday yoga, Wednesday bar. So let's go ahead and get comfortable. You can lay down on your mats, on your backs. You can stay seated. You can lay on your side, your belly, whatever feels good for you. Folks on Zoom, feel free to listen to anything that you want to. If you are on Spotify, you can find me if you search my name, or if you search Spring Yoga 2024. Other than that, we're just going to start with our breathing and meditation. So just getting comfortable wherever we are. I'm going to shut the door. Maybe that's closing our eyes, getting adjusted to the light. Shifting our focus inward is what we do when we close our eyes sometimes. Bringing our focus to our breath. And just taking this time to notice how our body's feeling today. You know the song that was just playing in the room? This is the guitar version. Pretty sure I have this song in every different version because it's my favorite. Maybe starting with that full body scan from your feet to the crown of your head. Noticing if you're feeling any tension anywhere in your body. And just being mindful of any tension as we move into our poses today. Remembering that we are in control of our practice, so we have the power to choose what options feel best for us today. As we start to get comfortable on our mats, remembering that we can feel free to keep moving. Maybe starting to bring your focus more towards your breath and thinking about that diaphragmatic breath. So as we inhale deep from our belly, moving the breath up into the chest, exhaling from the chest back down to the belly. Breathing in and out of the nose if that feels accommodating to us today. I know it's pretty much approached allergy season, so feel free to breathe in any way that feels good for you. Thinking about slowing down our breath today. So what we want to think about as we move into our physical poses or asanas on our mats. We're slowing down our minds and our bodies, taking time to be present and tuning in to what our bodies are wanting and needing out of our practice today. Letting go of any expectations, letting go of any competition, and suspending all judgment of ourselves and others. When we're ready, wherever we are, either seated or on our mats, we're just going to start with some small movements. Hands come down by our sides. As we inhale, arms sweep up and over. As we exhale, hands come back down by the sides. Maybe just noticing how it feels to move with our breath, being mindful of our space around us. Arms can come straight overhead or they can sweep, circle out by your side. As we focus on this movement here, still continuing to tune into our breath, inhaling, feel the rib cage rise, the belly rise, the back maybe rise off the mat. As we exhale, pressing our spine back down into our mats. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And then taking 1 more as we exhale, knees come into the chest. We're going to make our way down onto our mats if we're not there. And we can take our knees into our chest, grabbing our hamstrings under our knee, little rock side to side. If that feels good for you, just being mindful. Again, only moving into our poses, adding movement to them, the ones that maybe feel good for us today. As we're ready, let's place our feet down on our mat, walking them out to the long edges of our mat. Hands come maybe a little wider as we drop our knees right and left, getting that little internal, external rotation in our hips. I like to use this move to check in with how my hips are feeling, how my back is feeling. Maybe taking 2 more times, moving at whatever pace feels good for you. And then as we're ready, we'll walk our feet back in, line with our hips, feet under the knees, toes in front of the heels. So the feet are facing forward, hands by the sides. From here, we'll inhale, pull the belly button to the spine, lift the hips up into bridge pose. Exhale, slowly bring the hips back down. We have the option here to articulate the spine. What that means is segment your spine. So the first thing is the tailbone would lift, then the low back, then the mid back, upper back, and then reverse it as we soften through the chest. Upper back comes down, mid back, low back, and tailbone. Whichever version of your bridge feels good for you today. Pressing into the balls and heels of our feet, feeling that connection and contact point on our mats. Let's take 2 more rounds of our mindful bridge. Feeling our muscles and our hamstrings, our glutes, our low back. Taking 1 more bridge. And then as we're ready, we'll meet back on our mats. From here, our arms walk out to a T position, nice and wide on our mats, and our knees come up over our hips. So our core is immediately active, right? Our deep core muscles. Just finding that deep diaphragmatic breath here with our knees and tabletop shins parallel to the floor. As we inhale, center, exhale, slowly dropping the knees over to one side, to the right maybe. Only as far as we want to go. Inhale, come back center. Exhale, knees to the left. And if any time this feels like too much, you can bring your feet to the floor and simply just walk your feet over to one side and then walk them back to center as we inhale and walk them to the left. Maybe taking 1 more round on each side. And then as we're ready, we'll walk our feet back to center. We can bring our knees into our chest. From here, rolling over to one side or rolling ourselves up, we're going to come into all fours, hands and knees. So our hands come to the front of our mat, knees, toes face the back. Spreading our fingers like starfish on the mat. Moving into our cat and cow as we inhale, dropping the belly to the mat, lifting our chest and our head. Exhale, reverse. Chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Taking this full movement in our spine from our tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Feeling free to add on anything else that might feel good for us today. Or simply just noticing, does the cat or the cow feel better for us? You can take some tail wags, moving the hips side to side, or maybe making circles with the hips. Maybe moving the hips back and forth. If we want to, we can even come up onto our toes. Our toes are on the mat here. We can shift the hips back, feeling that little stretch in the balls of our feet and our arches. Just taking this time to check in with our bodies, maybe check in with our wrists, all the different joints in our bodies. Quadruped or this position is a great time to do that. Taking one more round of breath here. And then as we're ready, we'll come back into our nice neutral spine. So eye gaze to the floor, because our cervical spine, right, is still part of our spine. As we inhale, reaching our right hand out in front of us. Now, can we press into the left hand and the right knee as we extend the left leg? So working on that contact point on the mat, pressing into the mat and reaching. Exhale, release, switch sides. Inhale, left arm, right leg, we lengthen, pressing into the opposite hand, opposite leg. Exhale, release. And just continuing that at your own pace, feeling free to add on lateral movement. If we do the arm and leg, remember that the hips stay square. We're not rotating our body at all. It's just our levers, our arm and leg that come out to the side, because we're focusing on lumbopelvic stability. So that's our low back and our pelvis and the connection that they make. Keeping the spine nice and neutral. The leg comes no higher than hip height. And I like to take my heel of my foot and press it back behind us with the toes down, imagining like we're pushing into a door behind us. When we do that and we push through the heel of the foot, we activate the glutes, which are a big connection to our low back and our core. And just alternating that with your breath. Inhale one side, exhale, switch. We'll take one more round on each side, warming up the muscles that connect our shoulders and hips, the front and the back of the body. Coming back to all fours as we're ready, walking our knees out on the mat as wide as we want. And then we shift our hips towards our heels, finding child's pose. This is a great time. If we want to, we can find our blocks, maybe resting our head on the blocks. Especially if we're ever feeling any sinus pressure or congestion, we want to keep the head above the heart, or that all of that's going to rush to our head and our nose, right? We can rock the head side to side. We can also take our elbows out in front of us, palms to the head, if that feels good. Taking a few deep breaths here. Just focusing on your deep diaphragmatic breath as you inhale, pressing the belly out onto the thighs. As you exhale, relaxing. First little hip opener of the day, so you can also assess how your hips are feeling in this pose. Remembering that child's pose is a rest pose. It's a great option that we can come into at any time in our practice, or any other rest pose that might feel good for us too. When we're ready in our child's pose, we'll reach the arms out in front of us if we haven't already, and then shift forward, coming into a plank position on our knees. So knees walk back in line with the hips. We shift the body forward, hands right under shoulders. As we exhale, we come down, elbows squeeze in by the sides and hover. So we're not touching the mat. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, child's pose, press the hips back. So that's your first option in our half series. Second, as we inhale, we come forward into our plank, core is engaged. Exhale, we can come all the way down onto the mat if we want to. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, child's pose. Third option, I'm going to show you kneeling, but y'all can keep moving. Exhaling, lowering all the way down onto our bellies on our mats. Tops of our feet, so if you can see my feet, tops of the feet go on the mat. We roll the shoulders back, keeping the hips down, and lift the chest. It's called baby cobra. Lift the chest, lift the heart, and can you lift your hands? Feet stay down. Excellent. Hands come to the mat, press back, child's pose. On your next inhale, come forward, find your plank. Exhale, chaturanga, lower down if you want. This time, as we roll the shoulders back first, right? Then we press into the hands. So we only press into the hands after we've already lifted our chest. So if I was on the mat, I'm going to lift my chest, roll the shoulders back, heart to the sky, then press into the hands, coming up to full cobra if I want it. Exhale, child's pose. That's your half series. So feel free to take that at your own pace, moving with your breath, practicing it a couple times. Inhaling, coming forward. Exhaling, lower. Remembering there's no rush. It's whatever pace your breath is at that sets the pace here. Remembering in your cobra, if you're going to do cobra, your feet stay on the mat. And your shoulders need to come back instead of forward. Your shoulders need to squeeze back. That's why I like to squeeze the shoulders back with the chest, then push into the arms. Take one more round of your half series. And then meet back in child's pose. Awesome, y'all. From your child's pose, you can stay here, or you can lift your hips coming into downward facing dog. So our hips are lifted in an inverted V. We're up on the toes, the balls of the feet. We can alternate our heel drops. I always say, but I haven't said it in a while, that the goal here isn't to touch the heels to the floor. It's not the goal for our down dog. It's just to lift through the hips, press the weight back so that your biceps are right by your ears. You can bend your knees a little bit, seeing how this feels today. And then as you're ready, take your gaze to your hands and we'll walk our feet there, whether we're in down dog or child's pose. Coming to the tops of our mats. Feet can be wide or right under shoulders or together, whatever forward fold feels good for you. Just keeping the knees soft here in this forward fold. Maybe rocking the hips, bending knees right, left. Maybe shaking the head yes and no. Releasing any tension in your head, neck. As you're ready, as we inhale, lifting up to find our flat back, lengthen our spine, pull the shoulders back. Exhale, soften and fold. One more time. Inhale, lift to your monkey or half lift or flat back. We call it all those names. Exhale, soften and fold. This time, inhale, reverse swan dive. Arms can come to your thighs for support if that feels good, lifting them to the sky. Exhale, we sit back and find chair pose. Hands can come to heart center or out to shoulder height. Inhale one more time into our chair. Exhale, sit it back. Moving through our full sun salutations. Inhale, we lift the chest. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, step back to your plank. Exhale, find your options in your half series, whichever version feels good for you. Inhale, cobra or up dog or plank. Exhale, down dog or child's pose. Inhale as we lunge or step or walk to the top of our mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, chair. Moving through that sequence again. Inhale, lift the heart, maybe a little back extension. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, let's lift halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, soften and fold. Stepping back, find your plank, knees, toes. Exhaling into your chaturanga if you'd like. Inhale, cobra, up dog, or back to plank. Exhale, down dog or child's pose. Stepping, lunging, walking to the top of your mat, whatever feels best. Exhale. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, chair. Taking 2 more rounds of your sun salutations, hopefully noticing the heat we're building in our bodies. Remembering that's our goal here. Also to get the oxygen flowing to all of our major muscles. So that's why we're doing lots of flexion and extension in our spines. And then remembering in these sun salutations that we always have options, right? Options to move in a way that feels best for us. So we can take out different poses, we can add on different things to our sun salutations, whatever feels best. Thinking about using our breath as our guide though. No rush, no pace that has to be met. Just you and your flow. Once you finish your 2 rounds of your sun salutations, we'll meet back in either child's pose or downward facing dog, either option. Making our way back to our down dog or our child's pose. We can finish out the sequence we're on, but shifting our weight back once we're ready. Either option, down dog or child's pose. And then when we're ready, we'll take our eye gaze to the top of the mat, shifting our body forward. We can keep one leg lifted in down dog, so single leg dog here, right leg lifts, or in our quadruped, our left knees to the floor. As we exhale, we pull that knee forward and through, finding our low lunge. Our left hand is on the inside of our right foot. I like to use my block here, but you don't have to, whatever works for you. As we exhale, we're going to twist over the right shoulder. Checking to make sure the knee is in line with the toes. And if we want to, we can reach the arm up to the sky. We can also tuck and lift the left knee. That's also an option in our low lunge. Again, whatever feels best for us in this moment. Taking one more big inhale. As we exhale, coming back to our lunge, facing the front. And then we're shifting to a standing position in our high lunge. So hands come up either at heart center, or we can reach them up to the sky, whatever feels best. Our back heel is lifted, our hips are facing front. So warrior one, difference is this. High lunge, the heel is lifted and both knees are bent. Excellent. From here, let's float the arms up to the sky. Can we lengthen the right leg, lift tall? As we exhale, pull the shoulders down and back, lift the heart. One more time, or 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open the chest. Maybe the chest lifts a little higher, the gaze lifts a little higher. Inhale, exhale. One more big inhale. As we exhale, we're opening to warrior two. So right knee is bent. Left leg is long. Arms are at shoulder height. We can also bring the hands to heart center, or we can take them slightly forward. We can do my little trick. I haven't done it in a while, but palms up in this position and then flip the palms, shoot the arms out. That takes tension out of the shoulders. Excellent. From here, can we take both palms to the sky? Inhale, straighten the right leg, lift tall. Exhale, flip the palms face down. Do it again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, come down. This time we're shifting back to our high lunge. So our left arm comes forward, our hips rotate back to the front. Yep, hands can always be at heart center. In fact, I'm gonna bring mine there if you want to. We're stepping that left foot in to find a warrior one stance. Yep. Feet can come as close as you want. They can also be a little wider base of support. From here, we're straightening the right leg, but keeping a micro bend so it's not locked out, right? Hinging from our hips, coming down to find pyramid pose. We have the option to find our block here, maybe at the front of the right foot, if that feels good. Feeling a nice stretch in the hamstring maybe of the right leg and the calf of the left leg. Still keeping the right knee soft. Taking one more big inhale here in this pose. As we exhale, shifting your weight into your block or your ankle or the front of the right foot, we're peeling the left leg off, coming into our standing splits. Maybe rolling out the ankle, taking a few breaths here, a little balance challenge. Standing leg feels strong and grounded. Maybe ankle stability plays a role here. As we look to the back of the foot or back of the mat towards the foot, take a big step back, coming back into your low lunge. I like to use my blocks here on the outsides of my leg, that's fine. All we're gonna do is shift to the long side of the mat, so the hips rotate. Yep, and then we can bend our knees, right and left. Seeing how that feels for our hips today, our inner thighs specifically. When we're ready, finding a place of stillness in the middle so the hips are square. You can take your blocks or your hands to the center of your body, center your body weight. We are going to move into our standing split with rotation. And I want you to think about keeping your hips square. So if you were to look at me when I did this, what we don't want to do is if I shift right and twist up to the right, we don't want to shift the hips. So it's a small movement, but you can see the hip shift. Same thing with the left, the hip shift left. So we want to keep the hips square, press into the left hand, feel the core brace, and we rotate through the upper back and thoracic spine. So it might not be a big rotation. We can also keep the hand on the low back if that feels good. The mid back and the upper back are rotating, but the hips aren't shifting right. They're staying square on our mats. Taking one more big breath, and then exhale, release. And we'll switch sides. So now press into the right hand, keeping our hips square brace. Exhale as we open to the left. Left hand can stay high, or it can come to our low back. Take one more big inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Now, here's the fun part, listening. Friends on Zoom, you would be facing away from me, but if you want to, you can just do the opposite leg, opposite side. We're walking our hands to the left foot, so facing the back of our mats, the back of the room. Here in our room here, we have mirrors, yay. We can lower the right knee down. Right hand is on the inside of the left foot. As we exhale, we rotate and look over the left shoulder. So we're going back to the top of our flow. Option to lift the right knee and reach the right arm to the sky. Taking one more inhale. As we exhale, come back to center, finding our balance. We lift the right knee, come up into our high lunge. So we're doing opposite leg, opposite side. Hands can come to heart center or reach up to the sky. Remembering in the high lunge, the heel is lifted and the toes and the hips are facing front. Yes, let's inhale, reach up, lengthen through the left leg. Exhale, pull the shoulders down and back, lift the chest. Inhale, one more time, lift. Exhale, bend. One last time, inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. Last big inhale as we lift. Exhale, we open to warrior two. This time, left knee is bent, so we're still facing the back of the room. Adjusting our knees, hips to be happy, adjusting our arms. Finding our breath. Right knee is bent, right toes are facing, or excuse me, left toes are facing our left knee facing left toes. And then our back right foot is about in an angle, whatever angle feels good. Opening the hips to the long side of the mat. Flip the palms to the sky. Inhale, lift up tall, lengthen. Exhale, bend and come down. Yes, two more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Last time, inhale. Exhale. Holding here. Inhale. As we exhale, coming back to the high lunge. Opening our hips back to the same side. Back heel lifted. Both knees should be bent. Yeah. As we exhale, hands come into heart center. Step the right foot in, warrior one. Left knee bent. Yes. Straightening the left leg, shift the hips back. Soft knee bend. We hinge at our hips. Nice long spine. Coming down, pyramid pose. Finding our block, our pillow, book, whatever it is, or our hands can find our shin below our knee, making sure we're not pushing on our knee. I also have taught before from home and used a water bottle as a block. So like this, you can totally use a water bottle as a block. Breathing into the back of our left leg, the back of our right leg, feeling this little stretch here. Taking one more big inhale as we exhale, pressing into the left leg, lifting the right for standing splits, finding our balance. Still finding our breath. Feeling that strength in our left leg, maybe a little shakiness in the ankle. One more big inhale. As we exhale, look to the back of our mat. Step a long step back, coming into our low lunge. Hands can frame the leg, left knee bent, right leg's long. And we're walking our hands back to the long side of our mat in our straddle position. Once again, bending knees right and left. Seeing how our hips are feeling. Lots of different standing hip openers that we just did. And some nice hamstring stretches too. From here, we can take our toes in, heels out just a little bit as we bring our feet wider, maybe our head and our hands closer to the floor. We have the option if we'd like to walk our hands under the legs, or if we want toes in line with our heels, we can find a wide leg downward facing dog. That also, I think, feels really nice. So the arms walk out in front, biceps by the ears. And then in our wide leg, we can push our hips back and our heels towards the floor. Feeling this in our hamstrings. Taking one more deep breath in. Exhale, releasing into the pose. When we're ready, walking our hands back to center. All right, here's the change. Walking your hands towards your right foot, you're gonna face me. Right foot, face me, yes. Lower your left knee to the floor. Walk the right foot out and walk the right hand in. We're meeting in lizard pose. Lizard pose. We have the option here to let the knee roll out to the side, the right side. We can come down to our forearms if that feels good. We can stay with our hands on our blocks. All I ask is that you take your gaze down to your mat, shifting your focus inward. Option to close the eyes, just breathing here into this pose. When we're ready, we'll go ahead and walk ourselves up. Walk the right foot in, right hand outside the leg, and then shift your hips back to that little hamstring stretch, opening our hip back up to send all that freshly oxygenated blood to the hip. If you want to, you can shift forward and back. Inhale, exhale. Finding a place of stillness. From here, we're bringing the right leg back behind us, down dog or child's pose. An option to move through your half series here if you'd like, or you can hold in your child's pose or your down dog. We'll meet back in our down dog or child's pose. Inhale, can you lift your left or right leg high? Exhale, we step it forward. Nope, just kidding. JK, put it back down. Other side, left leg. I was right the first time. Exhale, step it forward. Find your low lunge. Same thing. Left foot walks out, left hand walks in. Lizard pose on our other side. In this pose, can you think about relaxing the muscles in your jaw and your face? I say that because I do it too. I automatically clench my jaw. One more round of breath here. When you're ready, we'll walk back up to our hands. Hands can walk outside the hips, making sure the leg comes back in line with the hips. And we can shift the hips back, holding there, or shift them back and forth. Either option. When we're ready, we'll bring both of our knees down to our mats. Shift back to our child's pose or our down dog. This is our last down dog of the day. So if you want to take one last half series or anything you want from your down dog, you can take that now. Once you're ready, we'll meet back in child's pose. And then walking our hands back up to our knees, lifting our chest. Shifting around to a seated position. So from child's pose, we're coming onto our hips, facing front, legs to the front, slowly making our way down to our mats. If we want, we can do the one knee in, roll down, whatever feels good for you to make your way down. Gently. And then if you'd like, go ahead and bring your knees into your chest, little rock side to side. When you're ready, we'll go ahead and take our right foot to the mat, lifting our left knee, flexing our left foot as we cross it over for a nice figure four stretch. We can keep it here. We can also take the block and place it under our right foot. That just gives us a little more range of motion in the stretch. We can stay here. We can reach through to grab the right knee, right hamstring. And we can also rock the hips side to side. Feeling this nice release in our glutes. When you're ready, we'll uncross the left leg, bring the right foot down if it's not already, and switch sides. So this time, left foot on the mat, right knee in, flex the right foot as we cross it over. And if you're wondering why I say flex your right foot, we flex the foot, flex the right foot so that it protects our knee, protects our knee. You're ready, you can uncross that leg, bring your knees into your chest one last time. Little rock side to side. We are moving into our final relaxation. So you have the option to find any rest pose that might feel good for you today, whether that's on your backs, on your sides, on your bellies. You can take any last and final poses at this time if you'd like, or your body's wanting something, or you can make your way into that rest pose. Once again, embracing the stillness, maybe closing your eyes, bringing your focus back to your breath. Taking this last little bit of rest before we go about our busy days. Wiggle your fingers and toes, just bringing that awareness back into your body and your space. When you're ready, you're welcome to bring your knees back into your chest, or you can walk your feet in, roll your knees, your body over to one side using your arm as a pillow. And then from that position, we'll press ourselves up, coming back to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. It's okay, you don't have to get up. We'll take one last collective breath together. Inhaling, reaching your arms overhead, your biggest breath yet. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. The light in me honors, sees, and observes the light in each and every one of you. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. And thanks for being here today.